Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to Be a Better You Annual Challenge, Day 214. Today we're talking about emotional health and well-being. All this month we're focusing on the emotional area and the aspect of our life framework. Next month we will hop into spiritual and following that physical. I'm really mixing up the order I covered the life framework in this year, just to kind of make it fresh and see if covering them in different times of the year makes a difference or not. I haven't done it that way. I've always pretty much just done the whole thing at the beginning of the year, mapped out what I wanted for goals and objectives by those life framework areas. It wasn't until I started sharing this life framework with other people as an annual challenge that I dug deeper into topics along the lines of each area that we're focusing on. So this month, it's emotional health and well-being, and we're focusing today on emotional thoughts and beliefs. I'm going to share a 7-step process for looking more deeply and identifying our thoughts and beliefs. What are some of the advantages of doing that? Why do we even care what our emotional thoughts and beliefs are? Well, we're going to spend a whole day on understanding we are first and foremost emotional beings. But that would be one reason to me, since we are inherently and naturally emotional beings, we want to understand them in order to get better performance and in order to get the results that we want in our life. It improves our emotional intelligence. If we know what our thoughts and beliefs are, where they came from, how they're impacting us, because a lot of times they're impacting us at a subconscious level and we're not even aware of it. It enhances, of course, our mental health. It gives us greater authenticity. If the better we know ourselves, the easier it is to show up as who we really are in every situation in our life. It gives us stronger relationships and empowers our decision making. We make better decisions when we know ourselves better. If we know that a thought or a belief, and it might be a good belief, but it also might be a limiting belief. If we know what those are and we deal with them on a conscious level, it gives us an advantage in all areas and aspects of our life. We'll talk about it in Supersize Your Business. But let's talk about a process for doing this. And I will admit that I got to practice this morning. I had a situation happen that emotionally triggered me, and I actually ran through this process, and now I feel a whole lot better. Otherwise, I would have had to wait till this afternoon to make my videos. So step one, find a safe and reflective space. Go to a space where you can be calm and think through the situation. Emotional work, just like I think spiritual work, requires some quiet, some calm, some safety. Secondly, spot the trigger. Try to identify what the trigger is. What just happened? What emotion did you feel? And then what did I tell myself in the moment about that? We had a situation today where I basically jumped to, this is terrible, this is awful, don't worry and fear, and it's all my fault. Step 3, track the pattern behind the feeling. Well, what led up to the feeling that this is awful, it's all my fault? We dig beneath the surface and we ask ourselves some questions, of course. Questions are the best way to get at anything we want to understand and know about ourselves. What must I believe to feel this way? And I came up with, everything is really my responsibility and my fault if it doesn't go properly. Well, how disempowering is that? Here's an example. If you felt rejected when someone canceled plans, you might believe I'm not important. It's not important for them to do something with me because they have to cancel plans. Well, the truth is, life happens to all of us all the time, and plans have to change and be flexible. So we definitely don't want to be taking that personally. We also don't want to believe that everything that doesn't go perfectly is our fault and responsibility, because a lot of it isn't. There's so many things outside of our control. And then we identify the origin story. I often skip this step when I want to get to resolution faster, and I'll go back to it when I have more time and I want to really undo a limiting thought and belief that I know is affecting me in a way that I don't want. But basically we ask ourselves, who made me feel this way first? When did I feel this way? And I did answer it as I went through the sheet. Probably my parents, my sisters, my teachers. If I made a mistake in school, having accidents, I was a very active child, and so I was definitely having stitches and dental work and all kinds of stuff done. And then we want to challenge, step 5 is to challenge the validity of the belief that we're saying and ask ourselves, is this belief true? Is it always true? It's probably not even true in the moment, but is it always true? Is usually a no. What evidence do I have that proves that this is a wrong belief? Well, there's a whole lot of things in the world that are outside of my control. So if I'm thinking that I have to control everything, I'm in big trouble right off the bat. Would I say this to someone I love? No. Would I say, hey, this is all your fault? No, never. 6, replace and reframe the thought and the trigger and the emotion. So for example, if we say, I'm not good enough, say, I'm growing every day and worthy of love. If you have a belief that says, I always fail, change it to, I'm learning through every experience. For me, taking responsibility for things outside of my control, other people's reactions and behavior, is foolish and futile. Reinforce and repeat using daily affirmations, visualization, journaling, mindful behavior throughout the course of your day. Now, I have 3 people's examples, but since I am sort of sharing mine, I'm not going to share one of those so that we don't go so long. But what I challenge you to do today is use this 7-step process as when a feeling or a trigger comes up for you today. I guarantee every day we get triggered or we have an emotional thought or feeling. I'm 100% confident I can say that every day we do. And so when you notice that, luckily it happened first thing this morning for me, and I got an opportunity to run through the process. But as you go about your day, notice what comes up and then run through the process. Take a couple of minutes, take a deep breath, go for a walk, and say, okay, this is my safe space. I'm going to ponder this process as I walk around. Look for the triggers, track the pattern behind the feeling, etc. Again, if you can get to the origin story, if you know where it first came from, great. If you can't, don't let that stop you from finishing the rest of the process. Any questions about this? Any help? Any comments? Any concerns? Please ask. Seems I like 3 to 5 to 7-step processes. This one's kind of longer, but it's got steps that are, of course, always optional. If I can help you anyway, please let me know. Otherwise, I will tell you right now, this is one of those things you're going to practice your entire life. So have a process for doing it, because the better you understand yourself, the better results you get, the easier it is to create the life that you want. And that all starts in our heart and with our emotions. All right. Have an amazing day. I'll, of course, see you tomorrow.